Everybody has been asking the questions of how did I conquer sociology. So when you give the exam, you don't really know, right? Ki what will work, what will not. You just give your best. It is your own strategy which you should devise on your own, based on your hit and trial, based on your strengths, based on your schedule, based on your interests. Okay? It is a very personalized journey. I drew this model because I want you to understand one very important thing. कि लाइफ में कोई भी चीज अंडरटेक करो ना, whatever, be it professional, be it personal, whatever, you should always have clarity on why do you want to do this. So how is the ways through which you can achieve your why? What is your strength that will help you achieve your why? और ये award जो है ये एक दिन में नहीं आता. The more you apply yourself, the more you hit and try, you'll realize what you're good at and what you're not. तो ये एक छोटा सा मॉडल है which I want you guys to have clarity on. Concepts तो आते थे, marks नहीं आ रहे थे. तो फिर someone told me कि निशात सर से एक बार बात करो. So I called him up and he was gracious enough to provide time. In every question, mentioning of sociological thinkers is not compulsory. You know, I know a very good topper just who said to me कि he didn't write thinkers, and I know for a fact he didn't write. मेरे को ये confusion रहता था कि paragraphs में आंसर लिखना है, कि points में लिखना है, कि कैसे. It doesn't matter at all. मतलब it doesn't matter. Good afternoon, everyone. So sir said that everybody has been asking the questions of how did I conquer sociology. Even I'm asking myself the same. No one knows how. So when you give the exam, you don't really know, right? Ki what will work, what will not. You just give your best and hope that in the process you'll do most of the things right. And some of the examiner is not is having a good day. And he'll give you the marks. She'll give you the marks of whatever you've written, whatever you underlined and all. A small background about me. My name is Siddharth. I'm from Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. I did my engineering from NIT Allahabad. Post that, I worked in Verizon, which is as a software engineer. It is a company based in Chennai, American company. Uske baad, I did my MBA from IIM Bangalore. And post that, I started my journey in the UPSC. So I was working in Indian Oil and I resigned from there and started this journey. So every year I used to make incremental progress in UPSC. First, I didn't clear prelims with the coaching and all. I did my preparation from here, Delhi only. Then uske baad, first 2020 में I gave the mains, didn't clear the mains. 2021 में cleared the mains, didn't make my name, didn't get my name in the final list. So then 2022 में I cracked. I was allotted Indian Police Service. Then I took a leave for a year. वो extraordinary leave होती है. And then this year I secured 143 and I'm expecting IAS, but the service is not yet out. So let's see what will happen. Okay, so before starting, there are a few things that I'll share, just small things that I've learned in my journey. If it works for you, it's great. If it doesn't, I mean, you should not take it as a gospel, okay? You only see YouTube videos, yeah, talks of people who have made it through. But then there are many more thousand people who probably don't clear it because of some or the other reason, and probably they're also doing the same strategy. But somehow, somewhere, it's not working. So the reason I'm saying this is don't take any of the talks, any of whatever the topper says or whatever this and that says or he or she says as gospel. It is your own strategy which you should devise on your own, based on your hit and trial, based on your strengths, based on your schedule, based on your interests. ठीक है? It is a very personalized journey. किसी का भी model लेके चलोगे तो you'll end up feeling lost most of the time. ठीक है? So be careful. So I'll share whatever I learned. If you guys feel it's important, just take it. Otherwise, just check it. There's no issues. Take it. So can I draw something? Yeah, sure. ये मॉडल पता है किसी को? Anyone knows about this? नहीं. So this I drew this model because I want you to understand one very important thing. कि life में कोई भी चीज undertake करो ना, whatever, be it professional, be it personal, whatever, you should always have clarity on why do you want to do this. ठीक है? It should form your base. UPSC में भी जब तुम UPSC या civil services करना चाह रहे हो ना, you should have clarity on why do you want to do this. ठीक है? Always. Because once you have clarity on why, then your efforts would be very, very streamlined. ठीक है? यूपीएससी में ऐसा, इस सिविल सर्विसेज जर्नी में ऐसा होता है ना, यू टेंड टू गेट लॉस्ट वेरी अर्ली एंड कभी कभी एग्जाम्स अच्छे नहीं हुए, कभी प्रेशर हुआ, कभी कुछ इन्फ्लुएंस हो गया, ये वो हो गया. सो this why is something है वो तुम्हारे अंदर रहेगा. So you should have, you again get back to the race, get back to your grind, whatever is happening, because you know where you want to go. ठीक है? अगर ये क्लैरिटी नहीं है तो तुम फिर there are more chances people tend to get lost, because then they're like कि XYZ कोई भी X फैक्टर से वो करना चाह रहे थे, किसी के इन्फ्लुएंस थे या कोई पेरेंट्स प्रेशर दे रहे थे या समथिंग, देन तो यू अगर एक बार नहीं हुआ, ट्राई समथिंग एल्स, वो नहीं हुआ फिर यू विल ट्राई समथिंग एल्स, हिट एंड ट्रायल हो जाएगा, बट यू विल नॉट बी फोकसिंग ऑन द प्रोसेस। ठीक है, तो अगर तुम्हें क्लैरिटी, जैसे जब तुम शुरू करते हो यूपीएससी जर्नी, यूर ऑल पम्प्ड अप, नो वी आर गोइंग टू गिव दिस एग्जाम, और बहुत वो इमोशंस होते हैं नॉर्मली, बट इमोशन सबसाइड हो जाते हैं। बट अगर क्लैरिटी होगी वाई में, तो यू मोर ऑफन देन नॉट नो कि हाँ तुम्हें कहाँ जाना है, देयरफॉर सस्टेन्ड एफर्ट बिकम्स मच मोर इजी व्हेन यू हैव क्लैरिटी ऑन व्हाई। ठीक है, सो एक बार इट कैन बी वेरी सिंपल, इट कैन बी जस्ट योर, यू वांट टू वर्क इन द एजुकेशन सेक्टर, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट, और यू वांट टू रिप्रेजेंट योर कंट्री एज अ डिप्लोमैट, यू वांट कूटनीति में अच्छा करना चाहते हो, रेवेन्यू सर्विसेज, पुलिस सर्विसेज, क्राइम को सॉल्व, व्हाटएवर, बट यू शुड हैव दिस क्लैरिटी कि तुम इसमें क्यों आए, कोई तो रीजन रहा होगा ना लाइफ में। सो थोड़ा सा उस पर जस्ट इंट्रोस्पेक्ट, अभी नहीं, अभी तो मेन से तुम लोग का, बट यू शुड हैव थोड़ा सा क्लैरिटी ऑन व्हाई डू यू वांट टू अचीव दिस। ठीक है, इट हेल्प्स। हाउ विल यू अचीव, तो हाउ इज द वेज थ्रू विच यू कैन अचीव योर वाई। ठीक है, सिविल सर्विसेज इज वन ऑफ द वेज थ्रू विच यू अचीव योर वाई, गेटिंग इट। बट इन केस अगर सिविल सर्विसेज नहीं होता, तो इट्स नॉट द एंड ऑफ द रोड, है ना। देयर आर मल्टीपल एवेन्यूज थ्रू विच यू कैन अचीव इट, एंड टुडे अपॉर्चुनिटीज आर इनफिनिट, है ना। सो थोड़ा सा इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करना, सिविल सर्विसेज वन ऑफ द वेज, एंड इसीलिए लाइफ में कभी सिविल सर्विसेज को लाइफ और डेथ का क्वेश्चन मत बनाना, कभी नहीं, because the people who are far more successful, far doing great in life, far making a bigger impact than the civil services, because they have clarity on why. सिविल सर्विसेज के थ्रू कर लिया ठीक है, बट सिविल सर्विसेज में लक इज अ वेरी बिग फैक्टर, है कि नहीं। प्रीलिम्स दिया पता ही होगा, है ना। सो थोड़ा सा हैव क्लैरिटी, सिविल सर्विसेज के थ्रू अचीव करो, ग्रेट, इट्स अ वेरी बिग थिंग। अगर नहीं होता तो लाइफ और डेथ का क्वेश्चन नहीं है लाइफ में कभी भी, ऑलराइट। देयर आर मल्टीपल एवेन्यूज, बाहर निकलोगे बहुत एवेन्यूज है। I fortunately worked in the corporate sector, so I know how much opportunities are there. ठीक है, ये होता है what is your strength that will help you achieve your why. It can be your intelligence, your sharpness of mind, your hard work, your perseverance, your determination, whatever. और ये why award जो है ये एक दिन में नहीं आता. The more you apply yourself, the more you hit and try, you'll realize what you're good at and what you're not. ठीक है, बट इस ये एक मॉडल है ना ये लाइफ में, और ये सिर्फ यूपीएससी नहीं, लाइफ में कुछ भी हो, जैसे बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज होती है ना, दे लॉन्च ए न्यू प्रोडक्ट, दे हैव द टेक्नोलॉजी, उनके पास कैपेबिलिटी होती है, उन्हें पता होता है कि हमें इतना मार्केट शेयर चाहिए, बट क्यों कर रहे हो वो नहीं पता होता है, कई बार प्रोडक्ट्स फेल हो जाते हैं। टाटाज नैनो, टेक्नोलॉजी वाज देयर, मार्केटिंग थिंग उनके पास बैलेंस था, बट समहाउ कस्टमर्स को चाहिए कि नहीं वो नहीं पता था, मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटजी प्रॉपर हिट नहीं की, फेल हो गई। ठीक है, तो ये एक छोटा सा मॉडल है which I want you guys to have clarity on, बस। ठीक है, the other thing that I wanted to discuss was कि there's a game theory. Simon Sinek का नाम सुना है किसी ने? No one? Simon Sinek is a motivational talker in leadership. I gave this talk to one institute also. वहां पे I have shared these things only, but I really genuinely believe because these things help me, I tend to share it with all the students because वो कहीं ना कहीं help करती है। ठीक है, the talk that I gave this year, a very good top ranker is from that talk that I gave last year in January. So he'll be coming with me to Lavasna abhi is saal. So there are a lot of people jinko matlab they have achieved great in life, but I think this clarity obviously helps. Yeah, game theory hoti hai, I'll keep it very short, ki there are two types of games in life, finite game and infinite game. ठीक है, it's not the economics game theory. Finite game क्या होता है कि you know what the rules of the game are, you know who your competitors are. ठीक है, and if you play by the rules towards the end of that duration, more often than not you have higher chances of success. ठीक है, एक होता है infinite game जिसमें you don't know who your competitors are, you don't know the rules of the game, and you don't necessarily play to win, you play to prolong the game and improve in the process. ठीक है, with me so far, जेई का एग्जाम होता है उसमें तुम्हारे कॉम्पिटिटर्स होते हैं तुम्हारे पीसीएम स्टूडेंट्स, नीट का एग्जाम होता है उसमें तुम्हारे कॉम्पिटिटर्स होते हैं तुम्हारे पीसीबी स्टूडेंट्स, सीए का एग्जाम होता है उसमें अकाउंट्स वाले ना, राइट। यूपीएससी में तुम्हारे कॉम्पिटिटर्स कोई भी हो सकता है, डॉक्टर से लेके लिटरेचर से लेके इंजीनियर्स, एमबीएस, एवरीवन, राइट। तो ये मैं क्यों बता रहा हूं, मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूं कि जेई के माइंडसेट, या तुम कहीं जेई में तुमने टॉप किया होगा, एमबीए में टॉप किया होगा, नीट में टॉप किया होगा, बट दोज आर फाइनाइट गेम्स। यू हैव फिक्स नंबर ऑफ अटेम्प्ट्स, यू नो द रूल्स ऑफ द गेम, कंसेप्ट्स होते हैं फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथ्स के, और अगर तुम्हें वो कंसेप्ट्स पता है या तुम्हें इनडेप्थ नॉलेज है उनकी, तो इफ यू अप्लाई योरसेल्व्स, मोर ऑफन देन नॉट यू कैन सक्सीड, यू विल सक्सीड। और नहीं होगा तो अटेम्प्ट्स खत्म हो जाएंगे, मूव ऑन विद योर लाइफ। यूपीएससी में थोड़ा सा ट्रिकियर है, और इनफाइनाइट का मतलब ये नहीं कि इनफाइनाइट नंबर ऑफ अटेम्प्ट्स एंड ऑल, इट्स जस्ट द टर्मिनोलॉजी कि इसमें क्या होता है कि यू डोंट नो योर कॉम्पिटिटर्स आर, यू डोंट नो द रूल्स ऑफ द गेम। यूपीएससी चेंज कर देता है रूल्स, है ना। और यूपीएससी में सिविल सर्विसेज में सबसे बड़ा फैक्टर ये होता है कि इफ यू आर कॉम्पीटिंग विद समवन, अगर तुम दूसरे को फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस लेके चल रहे हो, तो यू विल एंड अप गेटिंग फ्रस्ट्रेटेड। द ओनली वे यू कैन गॉज इंप्रूवमेंट इन दिस प्रोसेस इज by comparing yourself, what you were in your last attempt, what you were, yesterday, what you were in the last month, last year, है ना। सो ये मैं क्यों कह रहा हूं कि इसमें डोंट, इफ अगर तुम्हारा कोई दोस्त है, कोई वो अगर बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ने में अच्छा है या बहुत ज्यादा इंटेलिजेंट है, समथिंग दैट सॉर्ट, इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद यू। तुम अपनी पेस पे चलो, अपने उस पे चलो, एंड यू विल सक्सीड, बट प्रोवाइडेड यू इंप्रूविंग एवरी डे, you're applying yourselves, you're improving. That is the only way you can gauge your improvement in this exam. Otherwise, you will get frustrated because always there'll be people who will be more intelligent than you, or obviously there'll be people who will be succeeding more because यहाँ पे बहुत बहुत बड़ा crowd है, ठीक है। So इसलिए improve yourselves in the process, keep your pace, identify your strengths and move accordingly. अगर आप उस finite mindset से infinite इसमें आओगे ना, तो you'll end up getting frustrated. कई टॉपर्स हैं आईआईटी बॉम्बे के, आईआईटी दिल्ली के, बहुत सीएस यहाँ पे 5-5 6-6 अटेम्प्ट्स में नहीं निकाल पाता है, ठीक है, बिकॉज समवे माइंडसेट मिसिंग होता है। इसमें इट्स अ वेरी ट्रेडिशनल एग्जाम, मतलब कि आपको अप्लाई करना ही पड़ेगा, वो बुक्स पढ़नी पड़ेंगी एवरीडे, जो भी आप टाइम दे रहे हो देना ही पड़ेगा, डिस्ट्रैक्शंस अवॉइड करने ही पड़ेंगे, लाइब्रेरी में बैठना ही पड़ेगा, वेरी ट्रेडिशनल। सोशल मीडिया से कट ऑफ होना ही पड़ेगा, राइट। और ये फाइनाइट गेम क्यों है पता है? एनीवन कैन गेस क्यों ये इनफाइनाइट गेम है यूपीएससी? Because the job that you're going to do is of infinite nature. समझे? Government sector is always an infinite game. Constitutional goals होते हैं ना, equality, fraternity, है ना, communal harmony, brotherhood. आ जाएगा एक दिन, पॉवर्टी खत्म हो जाएगी जल्दी? नहीं। हम इंप्रूवमेंट कैसे देखते हैं? We see what we were in 1947, what we were in 1980s, 1991, what we are today, और हम एस्पायर क्या कर रहे हैं 2047 में, डेवलप नेशन, है ना। तो तुम कल डीएम बनोगे, एसपी बनोगे कहीं डिस्ट्रिक्ट के, तो वहां पे तो बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस होंगे ना। तो तुम मान लो गोंडा के कहीं के डीएम हो, और तुम फिर लखनऊ को देख के, जयपुर को देख के फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाओगे? नहीं, यू विल वर्क एट योर ओन पेस, है ना। यू विल आइडेंटिफाई योर स्ट्रेंथ्स। चैलेंजेस भी आएंगे, पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर रहेगा, कभी कभी दंगे हो जाते हैं, टेररिस्ट अटैक्स हो जाते हैं, बट फिर भाई जस्ट फोकस ऑन वो सब डिस्ट्रैक्शंस रिमूव करके धीरे से कीप योरसेल्व्स अप, और फिर इस पे फोकस करके वाई पे स्टार्ट अगेन। दिस इज वाई यूपीएससी इज वेरी सिमिलर टू द जॉब दैट यू वांट टू डू, राइट। सो माइंडसेट बहुत जरूरी है इसमें, ऑलवेज हैव दैट क्लैरिटी। इट डिड हेल्प मी, मतलब वंस आई हैड दिस क्लैरिटी, इट वाज नेवर अ टास्क टू, आई वाज नेवर लॉस्ट इन द प्रिपरेशन, इट वाज ऑलवेज समथिंग, बिकॉज तुम्हारा जॉब इज वेरी चैलेंजिंग। अभी तुम्हें लग रहा है टफ, यू गो टू अ डिस्ट्रिक्ट, स्टार्ट हैंडलिंग अ डिस्ट्रिक्ट, यू रियलाइज व्हाट चैलेंजेस आर, एन नंबर ऑफ चैलेंजेस, पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर्स, ये वो, है ना, everything, every job, even IFS, IRS, everything, all jobs are very challenging, and government sector is always an infinite game, because you need to take a look at the last person जो is in the line, Gandhi ji's talisman, right? हमेशा उसके बारे में सोच के तुम्हें डिसीजन लेना है, always। तो तुम्हें इसलिए माइंडसेट लाना पड़ेगा, सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जाम प्रिपरेशन में भी लाना पड़ेगा। You have clarity on these things, these aspects, have that mindset and start working. मान लो मॉक्स दिए, अच्छा नहीं हुआ, डिसहार्टेड नहीं होना, फिर से कोशिश करेंगे, फिर से आगे निकलेंगे, है ना। जस्ट कीप दिस माइंडसेट इंटैक्ट, कीप गिव योर बेस्ट। अगर होता है तो ठीक है, नहीं होता तो यू विल कम आउट बेटर द नेक्स्ट टाइम, ठीक है। सो डोंट मेक इट अ लाइफ एंड डेथ क्वेश्चन एवर इन लाइफ, करेक्ट। दीज वर टू थिंग्स दैट आई वांटेड टू डिस्कस बिफोर वी ओपन द सेशन। अभी इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस रिलेटेड टू सोशियोलॉजी, इफ यू हैव एनीथिंग यू वांट टू डिस्कस, एनी क्वेश्चंस, एनी ऑब्जर्वेशंस, यू कैन जस्ट शूट, बताओ।
The strategy between pre and mains, how to
I'll tell you what happened. So, my GS marks are mostly the same. Huh? Sociology, I was not getting marks. I used to land up around 250, 255, 246. मैंने मतलब इससे पहले दो मेंस में I scored around 250, 250, 246, 250, 255. So इसका मतलब ये था कि concepts तो आते थे, marks नहीं आ रहे थे। So this year when I cleared my prelims, I was very confused what to do with sociology, because that was the only problem that I had. बाकी more or less things were sorted. तो फिर someone told me कि निशात सर से एक बार बात करो। तो I called him up and he was gracious enough to provide time. उन्होंने बोला कि you send me your answers I'll just review those answers and we'll see what we can do together. So I sent him वो mocks मैंने दिए थे last year के 2022 I got selected no, so I gave mocks दूसरे institute में, उनके answer scripts I shared with sir and sir ने वही online, so we were online telegram पे थे, I prepared from Kanpur, so sir ने फिर वो review किया answers और then he had clarity on, वो clearly उन्होंने बता दिया कि ये issues है, वो issues है, ये demand question ये पूछ रहा है और तुम ये लिख रहे हो. So उससे मुझे realize हुआ कि yes, even though I know the subject, there are certain things, the demand of the questions are not met. ठीक है. And then I immediately enrolled सर के कोर्स में, जो वो होता है ना क्रैश कोर्स नो सर.
Yes, sir.
तो वो मैंने एनरोल कर लिया. अब उसमें दो एस्पेक्ट्स मेरी हेल्प हुई. एक तो सर कंटेंट इज रियली गुड, मतलब द कंटेंट जो वो उसमें तुम्हें दे देते हैं छोटे से स्पैन में 10-15 मिनट्स में, खुद से करोगे तो उसमें ज्यादा टाइम लगता है. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन्वायरमेंटल मूवमेंट्स पढ़ा है तुम लोगों ने, सर आपसे पढ़ा इन लोगों ने, तो उसमें
कितने लोगों ने, बट हाँ environmental movements हम तो पढ़ते ही हैं.
So there's this concept that sir discussed, a brilliant concept, which was like that normally he talked about the typologies of the environmental movements in India. The Gandhian Crusaders and their appropriate technology. There's Marxian, right? So ये एक पेपर है जो रामचंद्र गुहा का ने लिखा था. उस पर उन्होंने कैटेगराइज दी थी, वो 20-25-30 पेज का कुछ आर्टिकल था पेपर. तो मैंने वो पढ़ा हुआ था बिफोर कमिंग टू सर, सो आई न्यू अबाउट दोस मूवमेंट्स, बट उसमें मेरे को टाइम लगा था. लाइक आई स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम फर्स्टली गोइंग थ्रू द एंटायर पेपर, देन कमिंग अप विद द क्रक्स ऑफ इट, नोटिंग इट डाउन, नोट्स बनाए उसके, है ना. फिर सर की जब क्लास में सर ने जब एनवायरमेंटल मूवमेंट डिस्कस करे तो सर डिस्कस द एग्जैक्ट सेम थिंग. उन्होंने दो और टर्मिनोलॉजीज ऐड कर दी, जुडिशियल एक्टिविस्ट और टेक्नोक्रेट एक्टिविस्ट्स. तो द पॉइंट दैट आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इज कि टाइम इज अ वेरी स्केर्स कमोडिटी ओवर हियर, स्पेशली विद यू गाइस, क्योंकि अभी मेज दोगे राइट. तो सर वो कॉम्पैक्ट उसमें जो बता देंगे वो शायद हम खुद से करेंगे तो ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा. ठीक है. सो कंटेंट वाइज सर्स कोर्स इज वेरी सुपीरियर एंड आई एम जेन्युइनली सेइंग दिस बिकॉज वो मैंने सर के जो कंसेप्ट्स हैं ना मैंने बहुत अच्छे से यूज किए हैं. देयर वाज दिस क्वेश्चन लास्ट ईयर ऑन प्रेशर ग्रुप्स. प्रेशर ग्रुप्स में तुम लोग को पढ़ा होगा मायरॉन वीनर. उन्होंने वो एक दो टाइप्स के प्रेशर ग्रुप्स होते हैं ना, एक होता है तुम्हारा मास प्रेशर ग्रुप्स, एक एसोसिएटिव प्रेशर ग्रुप्स. ये पता है, आई यूज्ड इट उसमें पेपर 2 में, पेपर 1 में, जहां जहां यूज हुआ है ऐसे में, राइट. सो ये नॉर्मली नहीं कहीं नहीं मिलता है. तो एक क्लाउडिया गोल्डन का नोबेल जो लॉरेट है, उनका एक सर ने पीडीएफ दिया था. इट्स अ ब्रिलियंट पीडीएफ. मतलब उसमें सर टॉक्ड अबाउट वो ग्रीडी जॉब्स एंड हाउ वो जो पिल्स होती हैं, कॉन्ट्रासेप्टिव पिल्स, हाउ दे हैव चेंज्ड द गेम, द एंटायर बेल कर्व ऑफ यू नो women's participation, female labor force participation. So I used it in essays, I used it in paper 3, GS3, I used it in sociology. तो वो इतने छोटे से उसमें क्रक्स में पॉइंटर वाइज डायग्राम के साथ सब मिल गया था, तो आई यूज्ड इट वेरी लिबरली. समझ लो. तो कंटेंट वाइज सर्च कोर्स इज वेरी गुड. मतलब ऐसा कंटेंट, इससे पहले जहां मैंने पढ़ा था सोशियोलॉजी, तो सबको आता है मार्केट में, एवरीबडी नोज इट, या एंड स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो नो इट मोस्ट ऑफ देम, बट उसे डिलीवर नहीं कर पाते. और वैल्यू एडिशन वहीं पे होता है कि बेस तो सबको पता है, वैल्यू एडिशन तुम क्या कर रहे हो उसमें, हाउ आर यू राइटिंग इट, हाउ आर यू कोटिंग इट. ठीक है. दूसरा एस्पेक्ट जहां पे कोर्स इज गुड इज मेरे को जो हेल्प किया, it is because of he discusses PYQs उसमें regularly, every topic once finished, so he used to discuss PYQs. और फिर उसमें सर डिस्कस करते थे कि what is the demand of the question and how you can frame those questions. तो लाइफ में मेरे यही प्रॉब्लम था कि क्वेश्चंस प्रेजेंट कैसे करना है, या हाउ डू आई फ्रेम माय आंसर. तो वो हर चैप्टर के जब डिस्कस हुए तो एक आइडिया लग गया कि कैसे करना है कैसे नहीं करना. तो इट डिड हेल्प. मतलब पेपर 2 में लाइक जैसे आई एम टेलिंग यू फ्यू पॉइंटर्स, तो वैसे जो भी क्वेश्चंस पेपर 2 में थे, सो वट एवर कंसेप्ट पेपर 1 में जो डिस्कस हुए थे, आई वेरी लिबरली यूज्ड इट इन पेपर 2. इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पूछा, बट जो थ्योरी एस्पेक्ट है वो पेपर 1 में डिस्कस हुई थी, सो आई यूज्ड इट इन पेपर 2. तो और फ्रैंकली मेरे को नहीं एक्सपेक्टेड था कि 161 आएंगे. मतलब सर ने जब बताया, आई वाज माय सेल्फ शॉक्ड. आई कॉल्ड, आई वाज लाइक सर ये क्या हो गया. सर कह रहे हैं कि तुम्ही क्या है, तुम बताओ क्या होगा. सो आई थिंक समवेयर इट वर्कड, एंड यू वंस यू राइटिंग इट यू डोंट रियलाइज इट विल वर्क और नॉट. जी पेपर 1 में मेरे उतने ही थे, 130-135 के राउंड रहते थे, उतने ही आए इस बार, राइट. सो इसलिए आई विल से कि प्लीज फॉलो सोशियोलॉजी में. आई थिंक राइट नाउ सर्स गाइडेंस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, इट हेल्प्स यू प्रेजेंट. और टेस्ट वगैरह देते रहो. लाइक मैंने टेस्ट सीरीज नहीं दी बिकॉज आई वाज शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम, सो आई यूज्ड टू प्रैक्टिस 5 to 10 क्वेश्चंस डेली. एंड देन वंस आई रोट देयर, आई वो सिनॉप्सिस चेक किया, फिर साथ से डिस्कस किया, बस मोर देन सफिशिएंट फॉर मी. इट वर्क बिकॉज मेरी पहले की भी तैयारी थी. कई लोग पहली बार दे रहे होगे मेंस, कितने लोग पहली बार दे रहे हैं. प्लीज फॉलो इट वेरी डिलिजेंटली. मतलब इसी में निकाल लो, बेस्ट है भाई. मतलब डोंट गेट इन द ग्राइंड अगेन. सो बट ऑप्शनल्स आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, क्योंकि जीएस में मोर और लेस मार्क्स सेम रहते हैं सबके. ऐसे इज अ बिग गैम्बल. जीएस 4 में भी मार्क्स समझ नहीं आते, जीएस 3 के मोर और लेस सेम रहते हैं. तीनों के 1 2 3 बहुत ज्यादा फर्क होगा, 10-15 मार्क्स 20 मार्क्स का फर्क होगा। लेकिन कोशिश करो, ऑप्शनल इज अ गेम चेंजर। मेरी रैंक 143 इसीलिए क्योंकि सोशियोलॉजी वर्कड आउट फॉर मी, राइट। सो और हाँ, एक वो कोई बोलता, मेरे को ये कंफ्यूजन रहता था कि पैराग्राफ्स में आंसर लिखना है कि पॉइंट्स में लिखना है कि कैसे। इट डजंट मैटर एट ऑल, मतलब इट डजंट मैटर। क्वेश्चन की डिमांड मीट हो रही है ना, तो इट्स मोर देन सफिशिएंट। पता है, मतलब इस हर बार मेरे को पहले मैं पॉइंटर्स में लिखता था, वो कहते जीएस टाइप लिख रहे हो, पैराग्राफ्स में लिखो। पैराग्राफ में लिखे तो भी उतने ही आए थे, 240 250 थे, 255 ऐसे ही आए थे पिछले 2 महीने में। बट सर ने पहली क्लास में बोला है कि इट इज इररिलेवेंट कि तुम पॉइंटर्स में लिख रहे हो कि पैराग्राफ में लिख रहे हो, डिमांड मीट हो रही है कि नहीं, बस वही इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो जस्ट फोकस ऑन दैट, मतलब तुम्हें क्लैरिटी आ जाएगी। तुम जितना पीवाईक्यूज लगाओगे ना, यू विल रिफ्लेक्ट, तुम जो लर्न किया होगा वो पीवाईक्यूज में लिखोगे, यू विल योरसेल्फ स्टार्ट रियलाइजिंग व्हाट इज द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन एंड यू स्टार्ट अटेम्प्टिंग and you will improve. See, if you're just you keep on writing and adding the points, examiner may get irritated because you have 5 points are more than sufficient. You've already explained and you've already told the factors, the features, or whatever the question are. है ना? So, but try to meet the demand of the question. और ऐसा नहीं है 3 पेज है तो पूरे 3 पेज कवर करने हैं। अगर 2.5 पेज में तुम्हारा क्लियर हो रहा है आंसर, प्रॉपर्ली सेटअप है, एग्जाम्पल्स है, डायग्राम्स अगर हो सके तो बना लो, तो फिर इट्स मोर देन सफिशिएंट। बट जबरदस्ती मत लिखना, बिकॉज एग्जामिनर्स आर वेरी वेरी स्मार्ट, दे नो व्हेन यू ट्राइंग टू ब्लफ देम, when you're trying to fill the pages, है ना। तो they may penalize you also. मुझे ऐसा लगता है पर्सनली कि मेरे टाइम में मेरे शुरुआती कुछ आंसर्स में शायद एग्जामिनर्स को अच्छा लगा होगा, उनका मूड सही हो गया होगा, बिकॉज पहला इंपैक्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। पहले अगर तुमने कुछ खुराफात कर दी तो फिर तुम्हारा इंप्रेशन बिगड़ गया ना, फिर तो हर चीज सस्पिशन में देखेंगे वो, है ना।
तो आप स्टार्टिंग से पेपर लगा दो
सोशियोलॉजी में यार, सोशियोलॉजी में मैं ऐसा करता था कि पहले डिसाइड कर लेता था कौन कौन से ऑप्शनल्स लगाने हैं, क्योंकि जिसमें मेरे प्रिपेयर अच्छा है वो पहले खत्म करके फिर 10 मार्कर्स लास्ट में लगाता था, क्योंकि वो फिर एक फ्लो में सीधे खत्म हो जाते हैं 10 क्वेश्चन, ऐसा करता था।
When you started answer writing with sociology, initially, as you said that you had gotten approximately 240 to 50 marks. Okay.
250, हाँ.
In hindsight, at least, can you explain as to what may have worked in terms of answer writing only, not content, in terms of answer writing only this time around?
सर 2 एस्पेक्ट्स हैं। एक तो जब आपको क्वेश्चन पता होता है, व्हेन यू नो द क्वेश्चन, तो आप प्रॉपर्ली फ्रेम कर लेते हो। लेकिन जब आपको क्वेश्चन कहीं ना कहीं उतनी क्लैरिटी नहीं होती है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट यू गाइस, आई एम टॉकिंग सेक्युलराइजेशन और सेक्युलरिज्म का जो डिफरेंस है वो क्रिस्टल क्लियर कई लोगों को नहीं होता है, ठीक है। मॉडर्नाइजेशन ऑफ इंडियन ट्रेडिशन, मेरे को क्लैरिटी नहीं थी कि उसे कैसे लिखना है, मेरे को पता था क्या होता है ऑर्थोजेनेटिक एवरीथिंग, बट वो क्लैरिटी नहीं थी। तो एक एस्पेक्ट ये है लाइफ में कि अगर तुम्हें क्लैरिटी आ गई जो तुम अपने एफर्ट से करोगे, तो यू विल नो मोर ऑफन देन नॉट व्हाट टू राइट। उसमें तुम क्लियरली जब प्रेजेंट करोगे तो तुम्हारे आंसर में दिखेगा। इस बार मेरे को क्लैरिटी थी बिकॉज ऑफ द कंटेंट दैट आई हैड डन लॉट ऑफ हार्ड वर्क ऑन सोशियोलॉजी दिस टाइम, और मेरे को क्रिस्टल क्लियर था एवरीथिंग, जो भी मेरे प्रीवियस उसमें डाउट्स थे ना, वो इस बार सर से इंटरेक्ट करके मैंने क्लियर कर लिए थे। तो क्या लिखना था उसकी मेरे को क्लैरिटी थी, ठीक है। तो उसमें तो मार्क्स ऑब्वियसली बेटर होंगे। सेकेंड पार्ट है कि हाउ डू यू इंप्रूव। तो पहले देयर वाज अ ऐसा होता था कि हम एक टाइम जब मैं पेपर देता था, टाइम मैनेजमेंट की वजह से प्रेजेंटेशंस में बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान नहीं दे पाता था, बिकॉज ऑफ द लैक ऑफ टाइम। और सो जब मैं लिखता था तो पूरे पैराग्राफ वाइज आई यूज्ड टू राइट, पॉइंटर्स जल्दी लिख लिया और कंक्लूड कर दिया जल्दी। अभी क्या था, मैं 1-2 सेकंड 2-3 सेकंड फ्रेम करता था कि फ्रेमवर्क क्या रहेगा इसका, कि मान लो ये कर लिया, इसका डेफिनेशन लिख दी, ये फीचर्स, ये वो, और फिर कंक्लूड, बस। और फिर उसी में स्टिक किया और खत्म कर दिया, भले ही वो 2.5 पेज में हो गया। लेकिन वो फ्रेमवर्क, तो वही चीज जब पीवाईक्यूज लगेंगे ना, तो तुम्हें फ्रेमवर्क सिखाएंगे कि फ्रेमवर्क कैसा होता है, इस क्वेश्चन देख के फ्रेमवर्क बनाना। वो शायद हेल्प किया, मुझे ऐसा पर्सनली लगा, क्योंकि उससे पहले क्या होता था कि आई न्यू कि ये टॉपिक है, ये कीवर्ड्स मैंने देख लिए, इस आंसर में ये डिमांड है, ऐसे लिख दो, ठीक है। लेकिन उसमें क्या होता है, जब आप लिखते रहे तो कई बार मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है कि मुझे लगता है अरे ये ऐसे लिख सकते थे, या इसको चलो अब खत्म कर देते हैं, इसको आगे लिख देते हैं। तो वो चीज नहीं, अगर पहले से 2 सेकंड लेके 3 सेकंड लेके फ्रेमवर्क पहले बना लो ना, तो वो बहुत हेल्प करता है। और सर फ्रेमवर्क बताया था उन्होंने पीवाईक्यूज में, सारे उसमें बताया था कि फ्रेमवर्क इस आंसर का क्या हो, कंटेंट से ज्यादा फ्रेमवर्क, वो हेल्प करता है।
Second question that I would like to pose before you is that when it comes to paper 2,
जी,
okay, the elephant in the room, what did you do for paper 2? I mean, 161 is huge score. Okay. I know that you never anticipated this. Nobody could anticipate this much score. But one question that I would like to start off with is when it comes to section A and B, okay, I always say that it is Indian sociology. Okay. But when it comes to section C, I openly say it is Indian society. The sooner we accept it, the sooner we admit it, the better it is for us. The issue is that with section C, students are forcefully trying to find complex theories and statements or thinkers because they believe that section C needs to look the sociological or the whatever it is. Okay. They are overtly making the things which are simple, complex on their own.
Ji.
And then some students are actually wondering that they did not read paper 2 or put in as much efforts in paper 2 as much as they did with paper 1. Still, they got high score in paper 2.
Yeah.
But not in paper 1. And I often say this is because you did not put in that much efforts in paper 2. That's why you got high score in paper 2.
You kept it simple, Ji.
You
sir.
kept it simple.
Yeah, this I learned from him. Keep it simple. Don't try to complicate. So one point is that if you try to force fit thinkers or try to force fit concepts where it is not applicable, it is counterproductive. Okay? It is counterproductive. Because then you're not meeting the demand of the question, and secondly, you're force fitting things which the examiner knows better than you any day. So you will be penalized. See, the cardinal rule is if you're not getting any firstly, sociological thinkers in every question, mentioning of sociological thinkers is not compulsory. I know a very good topper who said to me कि he didn't write thinkers, and I know for a fact he didn't write because उसे पता ही नहीं थे. कई बार जब discuss करते तो नहीं पता होता था. Okay? It's not compulsory at all. If you know the concept and you're not able to able to recall the thinker, just write as per scholars. Okay? It will work because the concept is more important any day. Just throwing names won't help.
Yeah.
Okay? It won't in the answers because meeting the demand doesn't require names, it requires the concepts.
Definitely.
Okay, please don't try to force fit. If the framework that you've set is not including sociological concepts that much, please don't force fit. Keep it simple.
Yeah. And also students, I would also like to add one more point here. We really need to think, and Siddharth, you could also correct me. We really need to redefine the meaning of value addition, especially when it comes to optional subject like sociology. More often than not, we think of, whenever we think of value addition, we think of more thinkers. So this, we are somehow confusing value addition with content addition. Like content addition is not value addition. Value addition is whatever content you already have, a critical assessment on it and refining it, and to have nuanced understanding of whatever you have. That is value addition. Okay. So if you go for content addition in the name of value addition, I'm afraid you may see a dip in your marks in either of the paper. Okay.
So can I mention one point? Just one point. See, there you will meet people who have read books on sociology, not just books. Okay. And they've invested so much time in sociology. But you need to understand that the amount of pages are limited. The time is limited. So even if they have read like 5 different books on sociology, the amount of content addition that they'll be able to do is just probably half of 1 marks more than you. If you've done diligently whatever your notes are, whatever your contents are. Okay. And time is a very scarce commodity also. Okay. So keep your sources limited. Get an understanding. Once the understanding is there, don't refer XYZ books just to get more understanding. The content that you're given, you're provided with, or is already there in the market is more than sufficient. Trust that. Don't go around beating this book and that. One guy read book on this thing, Sanskritization, the entire book on Sanskritization. There'll be 1 or 2 questions maximum. No point, right? What I did in paper 2 was जैसे cults आया ना, तो इस पे अगर factors आए, तो अगर types में explain भी कर रहा हूँ, तो I'll make a flowchart, small flowchart rather than using the space because that's not the demand of the question. So if you know types, if you have theory, if it's unnecessary and think you utilize the pages, just draw a flowchart and यहाँ पे लिख दो types. That's it. So छोटा सा space लेंगे, utilize कर लेंगे, but the main demand of the question will be met.
Yeah.
So वो pages भी नहीं खाएगा, तुम्हारे words भी नहीं खाएगा, and you'll be able to address the demands of the question.
Definitely.
Just I wanted to add this. Yeah.
Like within this subheading, would it be better to have a subheading? The factors, let's say urban winter is problem that is by a cult is common.
Yeah.
So एक line में लिखी या एक subheading में छोटी सी 2 words की उसको explain करना चाहिए.
So basically you're asking See, rising uncertainty is subheading within the subheading of factor. And there could be more of such subheadings. But if you have that much clarity and that great revision, you can start with subheadings and then explain with a brief statement. Or if you're not able to revise those things quickly, but you know that you have to write factor, but you don't have enough time to think of subheading for that factor, directly start with factor. Okay.
The headings do always help in the GS as well.
They do help.
That is even better.
Even
double
better.
underline करके heading लिखे with 2 pointers लिख दे.
Definitely. Okay.
This type of questions, like we have the content for about 1.5 pages. We have to ultimately fill both the pages. So if we are going with the types of cut, we are sufficiently filling both the pages. So in case we remove that part, but we can't add those things in the last to fill the pages. So choosing between the two, filling the page or coherence, connecting statement, what should be the priorities?
Second one, filling the page can't be the priority. Because if filling the page is your agenda, you may end up writing 10 critiques. Okay. Just to fill the page. This, like Siddharth also mentioned that he never used to fill 3 pages, right?
Yeah, one very important point you taught us actually when we were studying कि वो हर point एक criticism लिखते थे ना, तो सर never focused on criticism. कोई भी concept आया तो we met the demand of the question. फिर मेरी ये आदत थी, मैंने कई लोगों से और भी सीखी थी कि we used to also write criticism because that's an important part. वो आ जाता है लिखते लिखते, बट सर सेट की क्रिटिसिज्म 1-2 लाइन में लिख दो अगर बहुत तुम्हें आ रहा है कि तुम्हें लिखना ही. इफ यू वांट टू राइट एंड यू हैव दैट एक्सट्रीम अर्ज ऑफ राइटिंग क्रिटिसिज्म, जस्ट राइट 1 or 2 lines, but that cannot be a very significant portion of the answer. So the point is, if the demand of the question is met, be satisfied that you have addressed the question.
Yeah.
Pages are irrelevant. Because in previous attempts like 2022, there were 4 pages for 20 markers. 4 pages, you no matter do what, sometimes the 4 pages were not filled. So then last year I texted you saying, sir, this time there are 3 pages. Because 2023 I didn't give.
Yeah.
So then I asked him, sir, how many pages are there? Because I was in the 2022 mode, ki 4 pages hai, how will I fill those pages and all? The sir said now they have 3 pages. So it was irrelevant because 4 pages anyway, no one was filling it completely. But still
And
getting the marks.
I feel that if they are switching from 10 pages to 4 pages to 3, they are clearly giving us a signal कि भाई मुद्दे की बात करो.
जी.
ठीक है, भटकाओ मत और भुलाओ मत, नहीं क्या बोलते हैं उसको, भटकाना नहीं है हमें.
And trust me, there are a lot of people who, like the way you're asking, no Harsh, actually there are people who just try to fill the pages.
And then actually now the end of book उसके लिए थोड़ी space कम है.
Yeah, that's what.
वो एंड में आ रहा होता है.
End में. And this happened with me personally also. I was so trying to cram everything into my answers. Sometimes the crux of or the demand of the question was not met properly. I used to just fill it somehow. मतलब end में कुछ करके लिख देते थे. Last line, एकदम last space तक I used to fill everything. It is not required. So filling the pages should not be a priority as per me. मतलब I don't know what examiner is checking, but it should not be if the demand of the question is met.
Yeah. And also, Siddharth, if you could talk about the language that you use. Did you keep it simple or did you use lot of flowery words or vocabulary?
Very simple. And you only told this, sir. Matlab, you were like, why are you trying to complicate things? Few answers that I wrote, I showed him and sir said ki it is there, but the simplicity, you are trying to overcome because I have this habit of writing too many words, even speaking too many words at times. So in writing also that comes at times. So I have been given this feedback multiple number of times that you don't write to the point and you use a lot of flowery language and this and that and words, fancy words and all. Don't use those things. They're not required. See, fortunately, UPSC is a great leveler, no? Across age groups, across disciplines and across everything. So there are people from all the backgrounds who are giving this exam. So do you expect someone from a very not so good background using that flowery language? No. But then they end up passing exam. So that explains to you that what UPSC actually requires.
Right.
So there's no point of just unnecessarily using fancy words and all. No. Concepts, obviously, but not language. It should be very simple. I did that. And somehow it worked.
And what about current affairs for sociology, Siddharth? Your experience?
Sir, paper 2 in my time was actually based on current affairs. So you need to have knowledge. And somehow once you're doing the classes, those points are discussed more often than not. Just make sure that once you see, sir shares it, it's in the media also, social media, Telegram and all, but sociology related current affairs, no, just keep an eye of it. I did that during mains preparations. There are articles on it, just say triple talaq ho gaya, right? Then there was this very education wala thingy in Karnataka where hijab controversy was there, right? So just keep an eye on it and keep reading the op-eds. Even if you're not making notes, just try to read those things because those things do help. Because you get some pointers, some very good pointers. Because some of the articles that they come, they are from proper sociologists, and there are some really good points that discussed.
So you were reading newspaper.
I was reading newspapers. Malab sociology, I used to keep a track of sociology related articles in op-eds.
And other than newspaper,
Nothing. I didn't have that much of time. Sir's content is very superior.
you used to make notes of that. Or
Initially I tried to, but time poverty rehta hai, so it was not possible. But then even if you're reading it, no, you'll somewhere it registers. So you'll have so I'll tell you, once you read an op-ed, you try to relate some of the concepts that you've learned through your studies. And it is sort of a revision of that concept once you're reading that. So it registers in your mind. It did happen with me. So for sociology, keep a track of current affairs. Well, not go crazy over it. But then if there's an article, there's some sort of an op-ed, please go through it. It does help. Because even if the concept comes, you can give an example. No, recently this happened here, that happened there. So always that adds on to your this thing.
as we are on it, how to finally make the notes synthesizing all the context that for the final revision in those 5 minutes.
This is tough, yeah, because I've heard a lot of people make very concise notes and keep it 1 pages and all. I never did that. I used to color code everything. Like I used to keep 5 markers of different colors. So for proper nouns, I had orange. For not so important, yellow and all. So my entire notes are very, very colorful. But then it helps me in my preparation because I know what to look for. If I'm looking for proper nouns, I only look at the orange part. If I'm looking for examples, I'll just look at the green part. Something of that sort. But that worked for me. Some people I know that they create very concise notes and cram it into 1 page. So it may work for you guys. So just try that how it works for you. My entire notes are very colorful. So even if I like hand over to you guys, you won't be able to. You'll be like, what is this? Because it's 5 different pens, 5 colors hote na Faber-Castell mein, markers ke. I use all the pens. It's very colorful. But then it helps me revise. So I did that.
So with that color coded notes, how did you edit both current and three parts in your book?
Current affairs. See, current affairs. I didn't make separate notes. No. Current affairs, if there was an article and if they say some concept which is used, or so once you're reading, you get an idea kahan pe use kar sakte hain. So then I just jot down a point pe this triple is a women empowerment, something of that sort. Just GS3 or GS2 mein karte hain. So I did that. Nothing. I never made separate notes for it because the time once you'll join this crash, abhi to tum mains, people have given mains se pehle, you have given mains, so you know how much time constraint you have, right? Sitting and making notes, especially from current affairs, it's a luxury we don't have. There's a lots to study. So I think, but read it once, it definitely registers in your subconscious mind. Okay? And once it does, you will be able to recall. Just make 1 line, just write 1 line somewhere. This example, this. Bas. And you, more of, agar tum, say 1 day before the exam, you'll just go through that page, the 1 pointers that you've made. So you'll be able to recall one. You'll write that.
So like you're talking about current affairs, so like in paper 2, especially in the section C part, so sir, like what is the importance of writing examples substantiating each point with sort of space to the example?
I developed this habit since 2022. I used to write examples. Matlab, it did help me in GS also. Like I have this habit of writing examples. It just substantiates your point and it signals to the examiner that you know this concept. It's not just theory. So personally, I wrote it, but then there are many toppers who didn't. I more than writing, say 8 points, I'll write 4 points and explain and substantiate with example.
Nice.
So, yeah. So that way the examiner will know that what you're speaking, you actually know this part.
GS4 में थोड़ा SPC similar patterns से करते हैं.
GS4 तो हाँ, इस बार I was not scoring well in GS4 also. So I did this intro. I used more examples and more content. So it helped me. This time I scored on 120, 117, 120. So it was decent. I was not. I was around 100 to se pehle. So it did help. So me personally saying, I think examples are important.
You took it from current only newspaper.
See, there are lots. So I'll tell you one thing. Jab tum you'll go through the content. जो sir ने दिया and whatever you're studying, you will find examples. They're there in your textbooks, they're there in your this thing. Everywhere there are examples, ठीक है? So once you're writing mocks, no, just try to write examples, ठीक है? So once you get that answer script evaluated, तो अगर example अच्छा नहीं होगा, तो you ask sir या ask what can be a better example of this. You were trying to think of an example, you couldn't come up with an example. Then ask sir about it. So उससे तुम्हारे दिमाग में register हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So you can ask your mentors and all. So I think writing examples does help you.
Definitely.
Both in GS and Socio. Yeah.
So I got 30 last year.
J.
110 plus paper and paper 2.
103 and a half.
What should I do? यहाँ से बना के put the-
Where were you? Like, were you here इससे पहले? So there can be two reasons for it. Firstly, थोड़ा सा conceptual clarity you might be lacking. So what I'll suggest is कि go through your notes once again and sir, like sir said, try asking the questions and get a crystal clarity on the concepts.
Very class yeah.
I'm telling you, the content is very good. Matlab, I'm not bragging over here. I'm just telling you my experience. Content is very superior to any other thing. And it did help me like crack this sociology this time. So it will help you. Just be sincere. Like,
Achha, one advice I will definitely want to give to all the students. When it comes to sociology answer, what happens is we are writing sociology paper after writing essay and GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And by the time we appear for socio, we have GS orientation in our mind deeply embedded. Okay. That gets reflected in our sociology answers sometimes. So much so that we start thinking of multiple number of points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That should not happen with sociology. You should not think of points. What you should think of, even if you are thinking of 4 points, because this question gets asked often, very often, how many points, okay? Even if you're writing 4, 5 points which are relevant to the demand and giving one example each for those points, you will get good score. But if you're writing 10 points, out of which 5 are just repetition of the previous 5, just in some other language, and 2, 3 are actually example of the first point, and you are calling it as a separate point, then you are bluffing. An examiner will catch it. Okay. Sometimes you are writing example as another point, which should be example of the first only, and you're calling it second. And these are the most important things in answer writing that we must know, that we are just trying to go overboard, and we should not be really bothered about it. We should just think of, I would say, just think of subtle 4, 5 points, example of one example for each. That will be sufficient. This you should definitely keep in mind.
yes,
Yeah.
सर लेकिन एक अंदर डर रहता है कि अगर हम कम पॉइंट्स लिखेंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ खाली रह जाएगा, तो फिर एक उस टाइम पे सर डर रहता है उस टाइम पे कि कैसे ना कैसे करके
कन्वर्स भी हो जाता है जीएस के लिए अपोजिट एंड
there is a solution ये हो सकता है. What I can think of is कि write the most relevant points towards the top. Always. The first 4, 5 points should be first 4 points should be, meeting the demand. उसको डर है तो just add, but I think it becomes counterproductive. But always the most important points should be always at the top. Because the examiner goes through वैसे वैसे, और अगर उसे शुरुआत में कुछ not so relevant points दिखे तो your entire answer may go for a toss, because then he's like, what is he writing? So always try to create the first impression better.
Yeah, and that will come with answer writing.
Yeah.
Revision will definitely help you, but answer writing will actually reinforce whatever you revised. So that comes organically with answer writing more and more. गलतियां होंगी, you will commit mistakes, but that is actually part of the process. Process ही ऐसा है ना? तो गलतियों से घबरा के टेस्ट ना लिखना.
नहीं. So
is
that's
not
blunder. नहीं, you
not at all.
unless you won't give tests or you won't apply yourselves, you don't know where you're standing. In 10 बार you will read the books 10 times, but you don't know if you'll be able to reproduce or not unless you apply yourselves. Please write more in mains. Mains का पूरा this was my third mains. So the entire this thing is the more you write with whatever content you have, try to write mains answers. Practice is the key, nothing else. So there are a few quotes also that were important, like for example एंड्रे बटे का quote है कि poverty is the new form of pollution. Then there's this quote used by somewhere that caste is not relevant in India in the profession, but it is very important in the choice of profession. Say most of the professors are from a certain background, and then most of the businessmen are from a certain background and all. So maybe try to use, if you come across such quotes or such very important things that have been written by some of the very influential scholars, try to make a note of this somewhere and use it in your conclusions and all. It really helps.
Definitely.
Take care. Yeah, please. Ma'am, once you start practicing and discussing the PYQs, then once you look at the question, you try to frame your own framework. Okay, and you will get the knack of whether I'm meeting the demand of the question or not. So if I'm able to, so once I've written the answer, once I go through it, and if I'm seeing that, okay, if there are factors, I've written 4-5 factors which are good, I've substantiated them with the proper examples. If I've ended it properly with probably a quote or probably a data point or something, I think I'm more or less satisfied. But it comes with practice, ma'am. Initially, you won't be able to, like when sir reviewed my answers initially, he pointed out certain things which I didn't know were problem, because we were discussing, I think, Karl Marx, and I thought I knew Karl Marx. I studied Karl Marx properly and I was meeting the demand of the question, but he said that is what you know, but the question is something different. So initially I was on that stage, and over the period of time, sorry? Ji ma'am, the more you apply, the more you start writing, you will improve. You will get it's like a muscle memory, brain memory. The more you start practicing, the more while reading the question, you start framing framework in your mind. Aisa. But it comes with practice. It's like a muscle memory. The more you practice, the more it will come.
Okay. चलो ऑनलाइन क्वेश्चंस थोड़ा ले लेते हैं. गाइस, रोहित राज, जीएस की बात नहीं करेंगे, सिर्फ सोशो की करेंगे. रोहित, ZI, how to get rid of fear from the subject due to prelims failure and then writing mains. How to get rid of fear from the subject due to prelims failure. Okay. Siddharth.
Prelims, see, I get it. After multiple attempts, if you don't clear prelims, I mean, there is a fear factor that comes in. But then all you have to do is, again, there's some luck factor, we all know. There is so much uncertainty, we all know. But then we should always try to control the controllables. No, agar hum wahi fret karte rahenge, to what will you do, right? So again, just recalibrate yourself, focus on these, whatever diagram I made, and start using prelims. The more you practice questions, the more it will help. One thing that I did was, while practicing the mocks, I used to make a register where I noted down the mistakes that I made, something conceptual clarities, conceptual blunders, something that was a very brand new information. Prelims may normally make 3 types of mistakes. No, one is like just very brand new information which we have no idea about. Second is we think we know something but we don't. So that's a aha moment. Ki, ye to pata hi nahi tha. Thirdly, wo mistakes, not nahi pada, casual mistakes, jaldi mein kar diya, right? So I think the second mistakes are the concepts that you know and you don't, those are very dangerous, because if after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you will attempt the same question, you will make the same mistake. So note it down somewhere, revise it weekly. So our brains, neurons work in a certain pathway, no? So the first time you make that mistake, there's a certain logic behind it. You think in a certain pattern.
Yeah.
And you tend to repeat the same pattern. Agar 3 hafte baad you've not revised it, and you'll attempt the same question. So just to change the patterns in your neurons, just note it down somewhere, revise it properly 2-3 times, and then new pathways will form. So I made a register and where I made all those mistakes and stuff. So it did help that way. And the more questions, practice more questions. In prelims exam, attempt more questions, because the nature of the exam is such that if you are anything around 70, nothing, 85, 90, तो करनी attempt. Because ऐसा exam है, ठीक है? एक चीज और बोलो. So prelims में क्या होता है? So once you're studying, no, just information is going this way. बैठे हैं, पढ़ रहे हैं. But prelims will all about applying, no. So तुम 10 बार भी, if you won't apply yourself, you don't know where you stand, and you don't know what your strengths will be. Some people have polity as their strength. Some people have economy as their strength, right? Some people have history. Is where history was relatively easier, right? So, right? So that you will develop once you will practice. Mahendra Varman, Vichitra Chitta is like, during the mocks, I have like given it like 20 times. So even in my sleep, if you ask it, I'll tell Mahendra Varman, right? So that is once you apply yourselves. So please attempt more questions every day. Okay.
So please suggest a strategy for those students who are not clearing prelims this time.
So if you are not clearing prelims, doesn't matter. Abhi first focus on the mains preparation. Assume that you are giving your mains, start preparation of the mains, give the tests, complete the syllabus till October, November. That will be done. Then start your preparation from November onwards towards the prelims. Starting abhi se prelims is counterproductive because you already have gone through the syllabus. You will have to practice questions, but starting and practicing questions from now on won't help. It's a very long, and then your mains preparation will suffer once you clear it. So why don't utilize this 2-3 months for your mains? Join a test series, attempt yourself, see where you stand. You try to improve, and once you're done till November, then start with prelims. October se start kar do prelims if it was not good. But abhi there's no point fretting over prelims right now. Assume that you're giving your mains, start your test series, revise sociology, give everything. Okay, whoever is not clearing prelims. And so one very important point is never think that UPSC result it has something to do with your capability. Trust me, it's not. A lot of people who were selected with me went to Lavasana with me with some very good ranks, took a leave, they couldn't clear prelims. And it's not like, so at the point that I'm trying to make, no one knows how to clear prelims. We are just doing a lot of smart work, a lot of hard work and hoping that we'll clear it. So people who have cleared it, as well as people who don't, have no idea. Okay? So don't think it's something to do with capability or your failure or those are people who are blue-blooded or something, nothing of that sort. So,
I often say that, this time period, September to December, this is not just a period of UPSC mains examination, this is also a period of festivities. So many celebrations are happening during this time, September to December. So it's all about Diwali, Dhanteras, Christmas, New Year. तो ये वक्त बहुत जल्दी निकलता है.
Yeah, yes sir.
इस वक्त की ये खासियत है, ये 4 महीने सबसे तेजी से निकलते हैं पूरे साल में. तो इसलिए even if you are not clearing prelims, do not get stressed. Just prepare like any student would have prepared if he was clearing prelims and compete with those who are clearing prelims.
Yes.
And show them that they are wasting their main. True, sir. And okay, fine. Man, this ऐसे अपनी वो निकालो कि भाई मैं उनसे ज्यादा अच्छा करूंगा जो इस बार मेंस दे रहे हैं. Okay.
Time is very precious. Well, everyone, time is really very precious in this situation. And please, you don't have any time to lose. Keep at it till you want to. If you have clarity on why and how and what.
And Siddharth, thank you so much for taking time out.
Completely my pleasure, sir.
And although you did not really reveal the secret, okay, till the end, okay, and I'm sure,
Actually, sir, there's no secret. I told whatever there is, actually.
But yeah, I'm sure that those things that you shared with the students, especially the mindset thing, why, how, and what, that will definitely help students critically assess themselves at each and every point in their life, not just in UPSC's preparation, okay, which is very instrumental for them to transform and experience a new self of their own. Okay. So with this, we wrap up the session. Thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you for your time.
attending this.